Hi guys, thanks for joining my channel. This is a Giving Back to Z channel, and welcome. If you're joining me for the first time, this is a channel which tries to encourage youth to find skills and that will bring back to the society what we can. So today I'm trying to talk about mental illness because this is a subject which is usually ignored by a lot of people. Most people think as long as it doesn't affect them and their family, then they're okay. But what I believe is if one person is not being functional, it affects everybody. But you find that most people try to ignore this issue of mental illness. They try to think it's none of their business. But guys, it's everybody's business. When you look at statistics, it says 3.3 to 9.8 of people like in Africa have mood disorders, and 5.7 to 15.8 have got anxiety disorders, 3.7 to 13.3 have substance use disorders. So somebody might wonder, why am I giving the statistics for Africa? Mostly, let me tell you something. In the first world, especially like a country of America, they do take care of people who are mentally challenged because they understand what it is and how bad it is. So you find that if they identify this person as a mentally challenged person, usually they take them and put them in a facility, unless the families don't just bring it up to the authorities. But half the time, even when the schools or the workplace identify this person, they try as much as possible to take these people to a place where where there's people who are professionals to look after them. And then some families do opt to look after their own. They cannot force them. And again, there's the severity of it. If somebody is not very compulsive, they're just calm, but they have like bipolar, which is just like high moods or low moods. Usually, maybe the families may take care of them, but even that, they're under very close supervisions from the doctors. So I'm not really going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Africa, because in Africa, guys, if you have mental illness, good luck. People with mental illness in Africa really suffer because nobody helps them that much. There are a few families who take care of them, but other than that, forget it. The government rarely takes care of these people because it's very expensive to look after a mentally challenged person. So most places in Africa, if you take somebody who's mentally ill, they'll ask you if this person is being violent or not. Half the time, if the person is not violent, they'll say, if they're over 21, they say then you don't have to bring them here as long as they're not, being violent or they're not being that dangerous. They'll say, don't bring them here. The reason why, it's very expensive to look after a mentally challenged person. You need like 3 or 4, 5 staff. You need somebody from nutrition, you need a doctor, you need a nurse, and you need caregivers. It's a lot to look at just after one person, but they don't have that kind of resources. So what happens, guys? These people end up in the streets. And if you have a family which is not collaborated, if they don't have a system who can say, okay, I'll stay with this person from this time to this time and this person, then that person is usually on their own. So what happens to those people? Those people are usually in the streets. They rarely bath because they don't even know where to go to take a bath. They eat from garbage places. That's where they eat. And if it's a woman, sometimes they're abused and raped, and they won't even know. Some of them have even ended up pregnant. They have mental illness and they're pregnant because people abuse them. All these drunkards. And in Africa, there's a lot of ritual doings. They tell them go and sleep with a person. They'll find a person like a mentally challenged person. That's the person they're going to use. And just leave them there. And the person that can't not recognize what it is. It's very sad, guys. That's why today I want to sit and talk about it, just to bring light and to see how people can work together about this mental illness. So there are different kinds of mental illnesses, guys. So I wrote just some few things so that I don't really go off topic. There's what we call schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a chronic and mental disorder characterized by disturbance in healthy perceptions, emotions, and behavior. Okay? Symptoms may include hallucinations, delusions, thinking impaired. So what it is if a person is schizophrenic, they do hear voices sometimes in their head. They do hear voices which tell them, they can even say, okay, that person is about to kill you, so you be the first one to kill them. Such things. Or they'll be thinking they're army commanders and they're at the war. So if they get hold of a gun, or they live in a house where there's a gun, they can tell them, get that gun. You're now going at war. That's shooting. So if you're not careful, they could kill the whole house, or they could just get up, go to the school, kill everybody at the school, at the school, or stab somebody. Or they can just do funny things, because sometimes it's in their head. They hear voices, different kind of voices. Again, I'm not a profession, but I did some type of study about it, but I'm not really a professional about it. I'm just giving a lighter thing about it. So guys, you can imagine this person, sometimes they're telling them, you need to live outside, because when you live in the house, somebody's coming to kill you. So these people end up living outside. And the sad part in Africa is that people will just be looking at this person who's mentally challenged. They can even be naked. They do all sorts of things. Sometimes they're just outside masturbating. Sometimes they're talking to themselves. They go into the garbage place. They pick up food, and people just look at them because they don't want to get involved. Like I'm saying, nobody will even report somewhere like, okay, I saw somebody eating at a place where they're not supposed to eat, or they're sleeping in this place where it's very dirty, or it's very dangerous, or I'm thinking I saw a girl, she's in danger, she could easily get raped. Nobody will bother, because most of the time people think it does not affect them. And some families, they leave, for example, they leave a mother to that person who's mentally challenged to look after that person throughout. And it is very hard, like I said. That means that person will not work, because they have to live with this person throughout their life, like look after them. Then how do you survive? How do you make your ends meet? Because you have to go to work at one point. So sometimes the support system is not very good. Even here, the support system is not good. That's why they end up taking them places where they can be supported. But what I'm just trying to say, like in Africa, it's bad. And half the time, if this parent dies for this mentally challenged person, then that person is on their own. And you have to understand me. It's very, very expensive and very difficult to look after a mentally challenged person, because even if you're the sister or you're the aunt to the mentally challenged person, or you're the sister, you think twice about getting them in your house. What if they kill their children? And mostly to bring, it will strain your marriage, or it will affect you also when you're going to work. You don't know if this person will burn your house. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not that people really do not want to get involved. It's just that it comes with a lot of perk. It's too much. It comes with a lot of things. But again, to leave those people in the streets, it's very, very dangerous. So my appeal here is, what can we do as a society when we find these people who are mentally challenged? My appeal here is for the government to try to help out. Because like I said, one person, it is almost impossible to look after the mentally challenged because half the time this thing is ongoing. So like schizophrenia, it typically emerges in late adolescence, meaning like maybe 14, 15, early adulthood. It can have a significant impact on your personal life for a long time. But sometimes with treatment, it can, I'm not saying they will get better, but it can put them in that better place. So, and then treatment often involves different kinds of medication, like therapy services, talking to them, asking them what people check out, what triggers it, and what happened. Like what else can we do, not for these offsets to go on. But they need to be closely where these doctors are to help them out. Other than that, it is rough. So what is my appeal? When you see a person, like you check out this person, you see that their behavior is off, the earlier you start taking them to the hospitals to get help, the better. Do not leave it too late. And what I'm appealing to parents is don't be under pressure that your friends and your families will laugh at you if they discover that your child has mental illness. It's an act of God, or it's something which happens. No parent would wish to have such a child. So don't feel shy or feel embarrassed. No person wants to be in that state. No person wants to bear that kind of a child. But again, sometimes society does not help at all. Society will keep stigmatizing these parents, the sisters. As for the person, you don't even know what's going on. Sometimes they laugh, throw stones, pour water on this person. You see that the kids, and sometimes I wonder these parents who look at their children, they're following this mentally challenged person, is talking, and these kids are throwing stones, are doing it. And sometimes the parents will just be looking. Or not really the parents, sometimes the parents are not there. You are an adult, you're in the streets, you're walking, and you see these kids doing that. You wouldn't even sensitize these kids, like, no, stop doing that. People will just be walking and looking like it's none of my business, it does not concern me. See what I'm saying? So that's why as a society, we need to work together to educate people that these people need to be treated with dignity. These people need to be recognized like they're also people, but at the moment, their mental is not in place. I love it here in the first world where they recognize them. You work in a facility where the mentally challenged people, everybody's monitoring. You have to, by the end of a shift, you have to document. Did this person take water? What was their input? What was their output of just water, liquid? And sometimes I never used to understand why it was that. It is because these people cannot remember to take water. And if they get dehydrated, it affects them. Or if something is wrong, that's how the doctors are going to know what is wrong. How much did they eat? You have to write for each and every individual, because they cannot remember when to eat and when not to eat. They do recognize them. And a lot of places, they have cameras to see that you don't mistreat them. Because some people take advantage and start mistreating them because they cannot help out, they cannot recognize, they cannot defend themselves. And believe me, they come with a lot of behaviors. And sometimes also people want to abuse the system and just medicate them and, leave them as zombies half the time. No, but it's not allowed unless somebody's being compulsive. Like, at that point, it's a danger to the people who are next to you or to the danger to them. Yes, then you can medicate them to calm them down. But if they're just hanging out on their own, or they're just talking, they're not affecting, they're not being dangerous, there's no need to put them into that state. So most of the time, I salute the first world because they do look after the mentally challenged, even just their clothing, the food, the facilities. It's well, I give them an A+, B+, A+, but half the time they do look after their people. My concern is the third world countries, where we treat these people like trash, where we treat these people like lepers. You see things like I see that this person is an adult and walking in the streets, half naked, and nobody bothers. Nobody bothers about them. It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart, guys. What has happened to our society? What can we do different to help out these people? Who's gonna cry on their behalf? If you don't cry on their behalf, who is gonna cry on their behalf, guys? Please, let's all work as a society. Let's come in, let's put an input all together. There's nobody who is perfect. And don't always think there's somebody else to do it. There will be nobody else to do it apart from you. So today, take up this challenge. The next time you walk in the street, you see a mentally challenged person, you see them eating in a garbage, help them out. Help them out. I know sometimes people say, oh, they're dangerous, they're going to beat. No, sometimes they're just anxious because they don't know your intentions. Because like I said from the beginning, half the time, like if it's ladies, people just abuse them. They use them as a relief thing. So sometimes they become defensive, like they see you, but sometimes you need to introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Jen. I'm coming near you because I'm trying to give you food. I'm Jen. I'm coming near you. I have this shirt. I want to give you a shirt. Is it okay if I give you this shirt? Sometimes I tell you, okay, and then you say, okay, I put it here. Can you get it? Or I have brought food for you. Don't eat from that dumpster. Here's food for you. I'll wait for you so that when you're done, I get my plates or something like that. And eventually when you go to them like 3-4 times, they become comfortable because now they become familiar with you. But you see them, sometimes they're defensive because they don't know you, because half the time people try to take advantage of them. So most of them are the people who are schizophrenic or psychotic, those dangerous things. But then we have another one, which is bipolar. Bipolar is just a disorder in mental health conditions characterized by extreme mood swings. That include emotional highs, mania, and with bipolar, guys, somebody might look normal today. In the next week, they become maniac, like highs. Those are the people who go on and drive like it's speeding or excessive drinking. Or just doing too much, excessive shopping, talking too much, overeating, overindulging, everything high. And again, sometimes they bottom down. They just be sleeping, like throughout sleeping. They don't want to talk to somebody. They just want to be on their own. That's bipolar. And they don't want to talk to nobody. So when you notice that with your child or your relative, find out, get curious, take them to the hospital and tell the doctor about it. Usually they'll do blood tests and they'll find out for sure that there's a disorder in them, and they have to start taking medication. They have to start taking medication, and medication is the one which is going to help them calm them down. But as a society, please, guys, as a society, let's work together. Let's work together to make sure that these people work closely to facilities which can help them. And another thing, I want to encourage people, like in third world countries, most of the time when you go to those hospitals, they'll send you back. Don't get defeated easily. Keep going until you see that your child or your relative get the services they need. Even if they tell you there's no space, go back until you get them in a setting whereby even if they don't take them in, but at least they can give them medication to make it better for them. And again, if you're just joining us today, this is Giving Back to Z channel. Yeah, we try to encourage a society with different kinds of things. Today we're talking about mental illness. Yeah, so if you have something to say, please leave a comment. in our videos to encourage people. If you have any solutions, if you want to support us, we do encourage you to do that. But yeah, so today I'm going to continue with my colleague who is in training so that they can highlight us more about this mental illness thing. Okay, now let's dive in and hear from an upcoming student who is studying psych disorders, what they have to say about mental illness in Zambia. So what is mental illness and how does it affect Zambians as a nation?
So I was taught to discuss on the mental illness that affects the people of Zambia, like worldwide. We can also talk of other countries. Yes. So let me start first by defining what mental health illness is. So mental health illness, these are health conditions that affects the changes of the person in emotions, thinking, as well as the behavior of someone. So they can be contributing factors such as distress, maybe problems that can lead to such. Thank you.
Our next question is, what causes mental illness?
So I'm back again. So now let's talk on the mental health illness causes. So according to the research that I did, it said to say the mental health causes, they are unknown, but they are contributing factors that lead to someone developing mental illness. So I'm going to talk on the biopsychosocial model. So I'm going to break it down, which is biological factors as well as psychological factors and social factors. So under biological factors, this is where now we are finding genetic causes. We are going to find biopsychosocial causes as well as prenatal, endocrine, etc. So under psychological causes, this is where now we are going to find child neglect, maybe child abuse, etc. And under social causes, this is where now we are going to find the unemployment can lead to someone developing mental illness. Poverty can also lead to someone developing mental illness. Thank you.
What are the types of mental illness?
So now let's talk on the types of mental illness that we have. So we have mood disorders, which includes depression as well as mania. We also have schizophrenia. We also have under chronic brain syndrome, we have dementia, as well as under acute chronic acute brain syndrome, we also have delirium. So these are the types of conditions that we find someone having or resulting to mental illness. Thank you.
Just to elaborate, what is a bipolar disorder?
So let's also talk about bipolar disorders. So under bipolar disorders, we can define them as these are conditions where someone is having extreme fluctuation in terms of certain things that are surrounding them. So under bipolar disorders, we have types of bipolar disorders. We have bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and this cyclothenia. So these types of bipolar disorders fall under there. So let me also go in bipolar 1, where someone is having they are fluctuating on the y-axis and the x-axis, where someone maybe has too much sadness or too much excitement. That is in bipolar 1. Thank you.
And what should the community do in case they discover or notice that somebody is exhibiting mental illness symptoms?
So just to continue, we should encourage our community members, as I said earlier in the previous video, to say they should seek medical attention. So under admissions, they should just feel it themselves to say, I need voluntary admission, where the patient is taking themselves to the hospital to seek treatment. Let me also talk of where the community will come in to help those people, maybe to take them to the hospitals to seek mental healing, etc. Thank you very much.
And what institutions do you have available in Zambia to help up the mentally challenged people?
So now let's talk of the institutions that we have that are supporting mental health illness patients. So let me first give thanks to the person who implemented for us to have hospitals in Zambia supporting patients with mental illness. It was Stewart Goblown in 1957. So let me talk of now the hospitals that we have in Zambia. So we have Kasama General Hospital, we have Undola General Hospitals, as well as Livingstone General Hospital. We also have here in Lusaka, we have which is Chainama Hospital, Levi Mwanawasa. So these are the institutions that are offering psychiatric patients the cure to be cured. Yes, thank you.
Thanks for watching our video. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment below if you liked this video, so we can make more. Please follow us on our TikTok and Facebook down in the description below. Bye guys. But always remember to have a great day.